Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to understand the concept of CI/CD pipeline. Like CI/CD pipeline stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. So it's basically a process which allows you to deploy the code directly to the production, where you can run a couple of scripts, where you can define the couple of scripts, and it will like automated be running on the server once you did some integration into your code. So before understanding the CI/CD, let's just understand the like old way of deploying the code to the server. So let's suppose this is your code and this is server. So if you want to deploy your code, then you can use FileZilla or you can use terminal to access your server, and then you can drag and drop file to your server. So this is kind of a slow process because if let's suppose your website is, we will take example of a website. So let's suppose if a website is already live and now you have changed some code or update some code in 10 files out of 100 files. So in the FileZilla on the terminal, you have the folder structure with you. So you have to manually drag and drop these files to the server, and then you need to run some scripts. Let's suppose pm2 on a server, so that your server will restart and then your site will be updated again. And it's like a slow process and more time consuming, and like will take more money because you spend more time on it. That means you are spending your time and you are and the client is like paying to you for the resources, so it will take more time and it's a slow process. Now let's just understand CI/CD pipeline with GitHub. So let's suppose here is your code and this is on GitHub. So if you like did some changes in your code, you just git add, then git commit, and then just push your code. So we are taking an example of a Node.js application. You can take example of any other technology that you want, but like the base concept is like pretty much same. The commands and the scripts is like vary from technology to technology, but the basic flow is like pretty much same. So let's suppose you have a main branch and you just like updated your code in the main branch with a PR request. Okay, so now your code has been updated. So for initializing the CI/CD pipeline, you have to create an action runners. So basically these are the runners which will call the server that hey, our code is updated and these are the files that we're gonna update to the server. So just take this and then just follow the other commands. So if you create an action runner for an application, you need to decide first a technology, that on which technology your app is been built. Let's suppose your backend is in Node.js, so you have to select Node.js in GitHub. Then it will give you a couple of scripts. So these scripts is basically you can run these scripts on the server. So your server and GitHub is now connected. So both are connected all together. Then you have to set up env files not into your code repo. If you have already set up env file into your code repo, like still you need to set up some env into your GitHub production level environment. And then at last, once you set up all this, then with action runner, it will give you a YAML file. So in this, there is already a pre-built scripts that has been written on this, and then you can add your custom scripts as well. All right, so once you did this, then these scripts will call to a server. So we can consider AWS EC2 server. Let's suppose you have a backend on Node.js and it's hosted over there. So before deploying your code, there is certain things that we need to set up to the AWS EC2 instance, which is load balancer. So basically load balancer is if you have 1 million requests to your server a minute, it will divide those requests equally to the minor servers and can divide the load equally on each server. Then a reverse proxy, which is basically, because on server your code is running on some particular port, so it will like the code is running on this, but the people can see your code into like www.somedomain.com. so basically it's basically running a proxy on the web, so that your local port will be run on the server. And the third one is PM2. It's basically a production management script, so that you can, so if you updated your code, then you don't have to restart your server again and again. It will basically take care of that stuff. Okay, so let me create a neat and clean diagram for that. So your code is on GitHub. Okay, so the action runners will take all this file, because the environment variable. So if you have before going to the server, this action runner will automatically run on the AWS and create environment file again by touch.env, and then it will push all the environment variables from GitHub to the server. This action runner will call this, and then before going live, AWS will check the load balancer. Then you have already set up your reverse proxy. Then it will execute a PM2 command. So basically that's the process of the CI/CD pipeline with AWS EC2. Now let me just, as I mentioned before, let me show you an example of a YAML file. Yep. So here is YAML file for one of my production level code. So this is the name of my CI/CD pipeline. Let's say Node.js CI/CD, and I call the actions if I push some code into the main branch, or I merge some code into the main branch, then integrate the following jobs. So here this is a self-hosted. This is a self-hosted. This is a self-hosted runner, and it is basically based on the Node.js 20 version. So let's suppose if my backend is like above than 20 version, any version 21, 22, 23, then it will run scripts only for those version, not for the version below 20, to save the time. And this is action runner, this is action runner, this is action runner, which is basically taking my code to the server with environment files and all that. And I already defined my node version above, and this is npm for clearing the cache. So before updating the new build, it will basically cut down the previous build. It will down the previous build and clear the cache and clear all the stuff, and then it will run the new command. So before making the another code live, it will create a env file, as I mentioned before. Then it will take these variables from my GitHub environment variable. It will create that file. Basically touch means to create a new file. So because my npm CA automatically deleted this file, so it will did this. Then at the last, there is a command called pm2 restart backend API. So backend API, I just define my service name on the backend, like on my instance, that this files are for my backend API. So before making my old code down, it will make my old code up. Then once my new code is up, then it will downgrade my old code, so that my code is updating on the server without any downtime. See, now if you are if you have already experience with a traditional level deployment process, then you can understand how easy is to integrate CI/CD pipeline. Because CI/CD, it's like one time work. You have, like, initially you have to spend times, you have to spend couple of hours to set up the CI/CD pipeline. Once you did this, then it's like pretty easier for you to deploy the code, because you don't have to, you just have to commit the code, and yeah, boom, in like 2 minutes your code is up and running. So if you're looking for a DevOps career, or if you're not a DevOps, just a student, or maybe a developer, then this would be helpful for you, because knowledge of CI/CD will help you to understand how the scripts on the server is exactly working. So that's all about this video. If you like this video, then do subscribe the channel, and let me know if you need a live video for how to set up a CI/CD pipeline with GitHub with real life example. So bye bye.